Hello. So this video is to focus on doing an art critique. So this might be a new concept to some of you who maybe have never done this before, but a critique is a really popular thing to do in art classes, or even just like in a museum when you are looking at a piece of art. So it usually happens if it were to happen in like a school or class setting, it happens at the end of a project when you are all done working and creating your project, and you hang up your art in front of your whole class. Everyone puts theirs together, kind of like a museum, how if you were in a museum, there's all these different works of art kind of hung in the museum, and then you kind of discuss the art. So I have on my screen, I'm just going to use a famous painting by Vincent van Gogh as my example rather than like a project that we've created in class. And then over on this side of the screen is the Google form that has the 4 questions related to an art critique. So what you would do is I would have taken everyone's projects and put them into a Google slide, and then you are going to pick one person's work of art, and you are going to fill out this form based on that person's art, like looking at their art. Okay, so the first section is describing. So you would look at the work of art, and then the question says, what do you see in this artwork? So you guys, like in my class, for the most part, a lot of the projects are you're all trying to create the same thing, but you can create it in different ways. Okay, so you would just describe what you see. So for example, I would say that I see a flower vase filled with different shades of yellow sunflowers. I see a light blue kind of textured wallpaper background. And all the colors to me are kind of muted. Okay, so that was that was me trying to go in a little bit more detail rather than just saying, oh, I see sunflowers. Okay, and so you would write your response there. Again, try your best to describe in details, kind of go above and beyond. Even if you're saying something that you think is really obvious, just try to add it and think of it in a different way. Okay, the next section is analyze. So the question asks, how are lines, shapes, textures, and color used in this artwork? Where are they used? So I'm going to take a look at this. I would say that I see lines to create shapes. So for example, like we have a curved line and it kind of continues on to create this vase shape. I would say that the shape of this vase is more of an organic shape rather than geometric. So remember, geometric are like circles, triangles, squares, whereas organic are kind of like more like no name shapes. They are kind of shapes seen in nature. I would also say that I see a lot of lines and shapes within the sunflower. So each petal was created with lines and they form the shape of the overall flower in the petal. Again, it would be an organic shape, especially because I always say that organic shapes are found in nature. Flowers, that's something that grows in nature. Okay. For texture, I see a lot of texture in this work of art. I see a lot of texture in the vase. So he used a lot of like little, almost like rectangular paintbrush strokes to give this texture all throughout the painting. And so I like how in the vase in this section right here, it also kind of looks like the same brush stroke in the background wall. So I thought that kind of helps kind of create balance and make your eye kind of look from one area to another. There's textures within the sunflower, so there's different like kind of bumpy textures within the center of the sunflower, and then there's the texture that was created to make the petals of the leaves. Okay, and then colors. So I would say that he definitely stuck to a kind of like monochromatic, if you want to be really fancy. So if we remember what monochromatic means, it means that you're taking one color and you are turning it into a different shade, tint, and tone. So he took yellow and kind of either added white to make it brighter, or he added kind of like black to make it a shade, or added gray to make it a tone. And so that's why there's different like darks, lights, rather than just like all the same tone of yellow. And then he also used shades of green all throughout to create kind of balance and move your eye around from place to place in the picture. And then the bold kind of maroon red, that shows a lot of contrast. So the word contrast is like they're opposites, so like lights and darks. So these dark red middle parts of the sunflowers are the darker shades that create contrast compared to all the lighter tones of the sunflowers in the yellow. Okay. And then when I was describing, I described exactly where they were used. Okay. Then we have the next section, which is interpret. So what do you think was going on in his artwork? What was the main idea or point? So, I mean, I'm thinking that he obviously was painting some sunflowers. So, maybe I could interpret that, well, I know a lot about Vincent van Gogh, and I know that he likes to do a lot of landscape. So maybe I'm interpreting that maybe it was rainy out that day and he still wanted to kind of create something or work on something. So maybe he had this in his house and was going for that painting, or maybe he was painting this to give to someone. Think about like in life, if you want to do something nice or give someone a gift, oftentimes you give someone flowers. So maybe he was creating this painting as a gift. Okay. I would say if there's like people in your work of art, then it's definitely a little bit easier to kind of interpret maybe what's going on because you can see what they're doing. If it's more of like an object, like in this example, then it's a little bit harder, but you can kind of think outside the box. And this is just to get your mind thinking about like what maybe was going on in the artist's brain. Okay. And then definitely the main point of this is the flowers. Okay, there's not really too much going on in this other than the main focus is the flower. It's right in the middle, right in the center of the painting. Okay, and then decide, would you hang this artwork in your home? Why or why not? Okay, so think about like you are critiquing a classmate's project. So a lot of times in art, there might be things that you love and are like, yes, definitely, I would love to hang this up. And then a lot of times there's art that just maybe isn't your style, isn't really what you would have chosen, maybe doesn't really fit your personality. So when you are answering this question, think about different ways to answer it. Okay. So for me, based on this picture, I would definitely hang this in my house. I love flowers. I think that I like how the color tones are all used. It's not too bright. Um, I like how it's kind of muted and it's nothing too crazy. And I think it would be a great addition to my house. But say that this was a work of art that I didn't like. So what I could say is, um, I think that this work of art looks really great. Unfortunately, like it doesn't really fit my style, but I do like the overall composition of this, and I think that everything kind of structured was nice. And you could give suggestions as to like ways that you think that the artist could have done something that would have made you like it more. So, say, for example, I didn't like the color yellow. I could give the suggestion of like, I wish that the artist used a more like variety of colors throughout this. Okay, so just kind of thinking that way, and then I described why or why not. Okay, so again, this is supposed to be kind of like a positive and helpful thing. It's just like in writing when you are sharing like a writing project with someone. you need to think about like we can't be hurting people's feelings, but we want to give positive feedback so that way they can use it and take that and incorporate it into their next like project, whether it's writing or art. Okay. Hopefully this helps. And yeah, can't wait to see your responses.